they fined her again. Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season. She's had 4 separate fines this season. And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it was that bad.
But actually, I forgot to tell you, we were talking about, like, our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for...
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. It's like, you're...
The moment Sophie Cunningham breathes a word of truth about the WNBA's darkest secrets, another fine slams into a bank account for times this season for brutal penalty for daring to say what everyone sees. But here's what Commissioner Kathy Engelboat never calculated. Every dollar stolen from Sophie's paycheck only fuels a rebellion that's exploding across the league. This isn't just about referees or fines. It's about a billion-dollar machine terrified of one woman's microphone.
They didn't like you then. They sure aren't going to like you now. Sophie Cunningham has been making waves with the new podcast that she is now featured in, courtesy of The Volume. Sophie Cunningham letting it all out and not holding back one.
Before we expose the shocking details, hit subscribe right now. What you're about to hear could vanish overnight when the league catches wind. Let's dissect the so-called offense that triggered that massive penalty on her podcast. Show me something. Sophie didn't rant or curse. She did something far more dangerous. She humanized the referees. If I was a ref, I'd mess up constantly, she acknowledged, granting him the grace rarely offered in professional sports. Your job isn't easy. But then came the observation echoing in living rooms nationwide.
She pulls me aside and she goes, come here, Sophie, I have to talk to you. And this was in, like, front of everybody. And I was like, what did I do now? And she just smiled and she goes, hey, they're going to fine you again. They're like, I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would.
No, you did.
When simple calls are missed right in front of your face repeatedly. What are you doing? She cited specific uncontroversial examples. Clear travels ignored obvious fouls uncalled in critical moments. This was an attack. It was a plea for basic competence. Yet, the league reacted like she'd exposed state secrets. The $1,500 fine wasn't just punitive. It was a message. Question the system. Pay the price. The chilling effect was immediate. Teammates nervously joked, "What did you say now?" Their laughter laced with genuine fear.
Man, leave Sophie Cunningham alone, Kathy Engelbert. Don't nobody care about that corrupted WNBA and those corrupted referees. Y'all want to fine her $500. Why? Because y'all feeling some type of way because you, as the commissioner, not doing your job for that bum league. You hear me? At the end of the day, y'all have so many injuries. It's crazy. Y'all have over 150 injuries this year recorded. That's insane. Something not right.
The league had weaponized finance to silence not just Sophie, but a collective frustration bubbling beneath the WNBA surface. It revealed a governing body more invested in controlling the narrative than fixing its most visible flaw. Weeks before the podcast penalty, the league signaled its zero-tolerance policy for dissent in the most baffling way possible. Remember Sophie's viral TikTok? Just her lip-syncing Sabrina Carpenter's playful nonsense. A moment of levity that resonated with 1.3 million fans. No criticism, no names, just pure relatable fun. The WNBA's interpretation, a $500 fine disguised as public criticism of officials.
It wasn't that long ago that Sophie Cunningham made this little TikTok video. And in said TikTok video, and you can see right here, this was July 23rd, she put this up and said she got fined $500 by the WNBA for criticizing the ref.
The justification was impossibly vague, suggesting the song choice or her expression somehow constitute an attack. Sophie's response cut deep. Okay, bud, guess there aren't bigger problems. Her sarcasm wasn't just funny. It exposed a staggering misplacement priorities. While players suffered serious injuries, over 150 recorded that season, while game attendance in non-Clark markets stagnated. And while refereeing controversies dominated headlines, the league chose to police a 15-second dance video. It felt petty, vindictive, and utterly disconnected from the real challenges facing players and fans.
Uncommon for coaches or players to get fined in a professional league when talking about officiating. No, that's not uncommon. However, when your league is looking worse than the NFL on officiating, you know what you might ought to do? Sit down in the corner and shut the bleep up. And maybe you ought not be fining your players over it, because you're officiating.
This fine wasn't about rules. It was a warning shot proving the league would find any pretext to punish a growing voice.
So what they dealing with? So you telling me if I'm getting bullied, I can't make a video about it? You gonna punish me because I'm letting everybody know and the whole world know what's going on with me and that I'm crying out for help? So
the Connecticut incident laid bare the league's dangerous double standard. Caitlin Clark, the undeniable catalyst for the WNBA's unprecedented surge in popularity, was being systematically targeted. It wasn't hard basketball. It was intimidation. The moment crystallized when JCS Sheldon poked Clark in the eye, followed by Marina Mabrey's dangerous shove, sending her crashing to the floor. Sophie didn't hesitate. Her hard, clean foul on Sheldon was a retaliation. It was enforcement, a physical declaration that targeting their star came with consequences. Protecting a teammate from clear assault. The league fined her $900.
I've seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin. I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're going to show her what the W really is. I'm what are people doing? It's just too much.
Finally, someone who gets it. Finally, someone in the WNBA who understands this thing called business.
Meanwhile, Mabrey, the instigator of the violence, received only a technical foul initially, later upgraded to a flagrant one only after massive public outcry. The math screamed hypocrisy. Defend superstar, $900 penalty. Attempt to injure one, minimal consequences. This disparity sent a terrifying message to every player. The league protects image over safety, and speaking truth or defending teammates is costlier than committing dangerous acts. It validated every fan's fear that the WNBA prioritized controlling players over protecting them.
After 6 years of anonymity, Sophie Cunningham has suddenly become a superstar this season. Why? How did she accomplish the previously unachievable? How did she become a star in a league that seems to be allergic to star power? To her credit, Sophie Cunningham used her brain. She noticed that the path to stardom had already been cleared for her. She emulated the strategy that was utilized by Drake.
Let's get the real old cost of Sophie's truth-telling. $2,900 in document fines this season alone. For context, the minimum WNBA salary hovers around $62,285. Sophie's fines represent nearly 5% of that entire annual income. Gone, not for misconduct, but for commentary. Imagine losing a full week's paycheck every month just for stating observable facts.
All she said was talking about, the refs needing to protect. I'm pretty sure. Was it not for her saying the refs need to protect Caitlin Clark? I'm pretty sure it's what she essentially said. The refs need to protect Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark said, finally someone did it. She basically talked about being the refs need to protect the face of the league.
Translate this to the NBA. A rookie owning the $1 million minimum fine 5% would face a $55,000 penalty, a sum exceeding most NBA fines in history, even for physical altercations or egregious conduct. For Sophie, it's not just money. It's financial intimidation designed to bankrupt her voice. The league knows this. They understand the economic vulnerability of players outside the absolute superstar tier. This isn't discipline. It's a calculated strategy to crush dissent by exploiting the very pay gap players fight against. It forces an impossible choice. Stay silent about league failures or risk significant personal financial loss.
The thing about this is, now that Sophie is bringing it up, now ESPN is falling by the wayside of her and actually agreeing that there's some extra sauce going on when it comes to Caitlin Clark getting fouled, getting bullied a little bit, poked in the eye, all that stuff, man. So let's get to that. Why would you want to hurt what everybody is watching? That doesn't make sense. All right.
In a stunning twist of fate, every fine intended to silence Sophie only detonated her influence. The Connecticut fine transformed her overnight. Instagram followers rocketed from 350,000 to over 1.6 million. Fans saw a player willing to sacrifice financially to protect her teammate and speak out. The $500 TikTok penalty. Millions more views flooded an under-hash-free Sophie, turning a playful video into a symbol of resistance. The $1,500 podcast fine. It catapulted her into media stardom. Download for Show Me Something surge, landing her interviews on major sports networks. Fans didn't just sympathize, they mobilized. Calls for boycotts. Merchandise drives to offset her fines, and trending hashtags became commonplace. Why? Sophie embodies a raw authenticity the WNBA desperately lacks. While league marking often feels sanitized and corporate, Sophie's unfiltered honesty resonates. The league's attempt to bankrupt her financially only enriched her platform exponentially. They punished her voice and the world amplified it. The most damning evidence against the league comes straight from the top. Commissioner Kathy Angelberg herself was forced to publicly admit the officiating crisis. We hear the concerns. Consistency is important. We're working on it. This admission, usually buried in corporate speak press releases, confirmed the core of Sophie's criticism. Yet within days or weeks of this acknowledgement, Sophie was fined $1,500 for echoing the commissioner's own stated concerns. This is an inconsistency. It's blatant hypocrisy. It proves the fines aren't about the content of criticism, but the source Angel Reese's blunt fixed the refs. I don't give a D***him about fines and fines levied on respected coaches like Becky Hammond and Stephanie White for similar critiques paint the same picture. The league admits the problem exists, but punishes anyone brave enough to publicly demand the solution they promise. It's a cycle of failure enforced by financial punishment. Sophie's most chilling revelation exposed a toxic undercurrent of fine for tech. She shared Phoenix Mercury's locker room talk targeting Caitlin Clark. Will show her what the W really is. This wasn't competitive fire. It was premeditated intimidation disguised as rookie hazing escalated to dangerous levels. Officials consistently turn a blind eye to the excessive physicality Clark faced, enabling the culture Sophie dared to name. The fines create a climate of fear extending far beyond Sophie. Her teammates' reaction to the $1,500 penalty, nervous whispers of "what did she say now?" reveals professionals terrified that mere association with honesty could make them targets. They walk on eggshells, stifling legitimate concerns about safety, fairness, and lead management, knowing a candid interview or social media post might trigger financial ruin. The WNBA, through its punitive system, isn't just silencing Sophie. It's holding an entire generation of players hostage, sacrificing their right to speak freely about their workplace for the illusion of control. This battle transcends the hardwood floors. It's a raw, unfolding drama where genuine authenticity collides head-on with a system seemingly designed to silence inconvenient truths. Sophie Cunningham's podcast, Show Me Something, isn't just another sports show filling airtime. It's become a live archive, a digital evidence locker documenting the WNBA's most uncomfortable realities. While league-sanctioned stars often deliver Polish, predictable sound bites and post-game interviews, Sophie is quietly constructing something revolutionary, a media empire built on two unshakable pillars, unvarnished truth and disarming humor. It's a potent combination the establishment clearly fears. Remember when she dismissed Clark's most vocal critics with that blunt, dumb label? It wasn't mere opinion. It was cold, hard analytics shouting through her. Look at the numbers screaming from every quarterly report. Jersey sales featuring Clark's name shattering records. Arenas historically half empty now selling out weeks in advance. Solely when her team comes to town, television ratings not just climbing, but doubling in key demographics overnight. The league's own financial pulse beats strongest when Clark is on the court. Sophie wasn't throwing shade. She was reading the league's vital signs aloud. Caitlin Clark isn't merely the marketed face plastered on banners. She's become the undeniable beating heart driving the entire league's newfound economic viability and cultural relevance. Trying to downplay her impact isn't just counterproductive. It's denying the oxygen keeping the league alive. Sophie nailed the surreal scale of it. Her fame. Honestly, picture the absolute biggest, most recognizable celebrity you've ever met or seen. Got that image? Okay. Now, multiply that intensity, that's your gravitational pull, by 20. That's Clark's reality right now. This isn't hyperbole. We witnessed A-list Hollywood actors, Grammy-winning musicians, and iconic NFL stars literally booking last-minute flights to random Midwestern cities just to catch a college games in person. That level of cross-cultural magnetism is unprecedented in women's sports history. Yet, within the league's own ecosystem, acknowledging the seismic shift, this lifeline somehow became a punishable offense when voiced by Sophie. Her podcast cuts through the usual sports chatter precisely because it operates like a truth serum. She doesn't just complain about referees. She dissects specific baffling sequences from recent games, replaying the audio disputed calls, juxtaposing them with league rules, forcing listeners to confront the inconsistencies themselves. It's investigative journalism disguised as casual conversation. When she talks about the targeted physicality Clark endures, she doesn't speak vaguely. She names the specific plays, the specific opponents, and the alarming pattern officials seem to ignore. This specificity transforms a commentary from whining into undeniable documentation. And the humor, that's a secret weapon against the league's austerity. Fine $500 for a TikTok. Her deadpan, "Okay, bud," response became a viral rallying cry, mocking the absurdity far more effectively than any angry rant ever could. It's this ability to expose a farcical nature of the penalties while simultaneously presenting irrefutable facts that makes her so dangerous to the status quo. She's not just building an audience. She's cultivating a movement of fans who see through the league's curated image and demand genuine accountability. Every fine letter becomes another episode script, another chapter in a damning testimony against a system prioritizing control over progress. The league tries to mute her with dollars, but each penalty only amplifies her signal, proving that authenticity, armed with facts and deliverable wit, is an unstoppable force against institutional inertia. The most devastating twist in this entire saga, Commissioner Kathy Angelberg's desperate attempts to muzzle Sophie Cunningham are actively undermining the very league she's supposed to protect. While Angelberg presides over a WNBA marketing machine that often feels sterile, scripted, and disconnected from the raw passion of its fan base, Sophie's unfiltered commentary has become pure rocket fuel for engagement. The lead pushes polished narratives. Sophie delivers visual reality. The result, official league social media posts promoting games or initiatives frequently generate modest interaction. While Sophie's off-the-cuff remarks about refereeing inconsistencies or locker room dynamics ignite viral firestorms, every fine notice served to Sophie isn't just a financial penalty. It's a free PR campaign for her authenticity, proving her point about the league's intolerance for inconvenient truths far more effectively than she ever could alone. Think about it. Angelberg needs eyeballs, buzz, and cultural relevance to justify the league's growth and secure lucrative sponsorships. Yet, the organic groundswell moments that truly break through into mainstream sports conversations increasingly orbit Sophie's fearless commentary and the league's clumsy reactions to it. When the league fined her $500 for the TikTok, the hashtag #FreeUp trended nationally, drawing attention away from scheduled games and towards a controversy. Her podcast find sparked debates on major sports networks, dissecting WNBA policies more intensely than any playoff preview. Angelberg's office churns out press releases about record attendance, often driven by Caitlin Clark's presence. Sophie's platform dissect why fans are truly invested. The drama, the rivalries, the unfiltered player perspectives of league often sanitizes. They try to control the story. She is a story. This creates a brutal paradox. By punishing Sophie, Angelberg inadvertently validates her core message. The league prioritizes image control over genuine dialogue and player empowerment. Each fine letter becomes Exhibit A in Sophie's case against the WNBA's top-owned management style. They intended to diminish her. Instead, they've supercharged her credibility. The role player label is obliterated. Sophie is now a symbol. The athlete brave enough to say what fans scream at their TVs, what players whisper in locker rooms, and what analysts cautiously hinted on broadcasts. She voices a collective frustration over baffling officiating. The anger at seeing stars like Clark targeted without adequate protection and exhaustion with a penalty system that feels arbitrary and punitive. Angel Burt needs his passion. She needs his connection. But the league's own mechanisms, the fines, the opaque disciplinary process are actively poisoning the well, alienating the very authenticity that could save them. Angel Burt finds herself trapped. Ignoring Sophie's critiques risks appearing tone-deaf, especially as refereeing controversies mount. But silencing her through fines only magnifies her voice and paints the league as authoritarian. Meanwhile, Sophie's platform grows. Her partnership with The Volume isn't just a podcast. It's a burgeoning media hub, giving her direct access to millions, bypassing traditional league control channels entirely. Fans don't tune into league-approved interviews for hard truths. They tune into Sophie. Angel Burt needs that engagement, that raw connection, that proof the league matters in cultural conversation. Yet, the league's actions consistently undermine the one player generated organically. They weaponize finance against her, but the shrapnel is damaging the league's own foundation. Every dollar fine fuels a rebellion not just against penalties, but against a culture control that stifles a vibrant, authentic, and sometimes messy discourse that modern sports fans crave. Sophie isn't just speaking to the fans. She's speaking as a fan, and Engelbert, in trying to quiet her, is trying to quiet the heartbeat of her own league. If you're done with the WNBA's war on truth, smash that like button, share this video before it's buried. Subscribe now. Sophie's next revelation could drop any minute. What happens when a league silences its most honest voice? We're about to find out. Comment your support below.